morning, everyone. I'm Heather Richmond. I'm a senior archivist with the State Historical Society of Missouri, and with me is our newspaper librarian, Katie Ziegler. Thanks so much for joining us today for our Digital Collections virtual workshop. Just as a reminder, all events in our virtual programming series are made possible thanks to the generous support of the Society's members and donors. You can visit our website to learn more and see how you can add or renew your support. What we call our digital collections, which is everything basically besides the newspapers that we have put online from our physical collections. So that includes manuscripts, that's letters, diaries, business records, photos, art, oral histories, maps, and the Missouri Historical Review, which is our scholarly publication. And for those of you who are interested in kind of the technical side of things, these are all housed in an external software system called Content DM. A lot of libraries and archives use this system for their digital collections. So some of what you learned today might be translated into other materials you find online in your searches. And in Content DM, you can browse collections and items. You can do keyword searches. You can download images, and you can look at information about the items like copyright information as well as transcripts. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to navigate to our collections. You can get to them directly at digital.shsmo.org, or you can get to them from our website, shsmo.org. And right now I'm just going to go ahead and open our website. So to access the digital collections just from our homepage, you're going to go to our research drop-down menu, which you can hover over. You don't need to click on it. You can just hover your mouse over it, and then you just click digital collections. And from there, we have kind of our digital collections splash page. You can directly access specific digital collections from here, or you can just go to the main site. I'm going to go ahead and go to the main site, which is View the Digital Collections site. And so this is the Digital Collections website. This is the home page. As you can see, we have our collections in here are kind of a mix of topical and format-based collections. Most of the topical collections are going to be manuscripts, so letters, diaries, some photographs, a variety of different types of documents. And then we have our plat maps of Missouri, as well as our map collection. And a couple of notes, we have our photograph collection, but we have a couple of collections that are also pretty heavy on photographs. Those are the Jewish Community Archives of Greater Kansas City. That was a grant-sponsored collection, and that's pretty much all photos. And then our transportation collection here has a lot of images of steamboats. I just thought I would mention that. So from the home page, I'm going to show you how to do a couple of different things. First of all, I want to point out we have in the upper right-hand corner, if you click on this icon, we have a search tips page. So if you are navigating the website and anything that you've learned today, you're trying to remember it, you can't remember, there's a lot of information here on the search tips page that you can refer back to. Also from the home page, you can go ahead and do a search. And that this will search the entire website. So if you do a search from the homepage, it'll search every collection in the website. And this is just a simple search we're going to do right now. And since a lot of you are genealogists, I'm going to search a family name. I'm going to search Gentry. And just so you know, if you want to search first names and last names, it's probably better to do first name and then last name, but it never hurts to try both ways just to see what you get. So here's a search for Gentry, and I'm just going to click the little search icon. And this is what we get in our results. And just to orient you to the results page, These are all the items in the results. You can click on the titles to navigate to the item. And the items have a little bit of information in the results page so you can see where they came from. So here's an example. The North Todd Gentry and Mary Todd Gentry photograph here has a little thumbnail that you can kind of see what it is. This information up here, so it came from the Gentry family papers. That's the collection in our holdings that it came from. Originally, the paper collection. In our digital collections, it's in the photograph collection. So those are two pieces of information you can get right off the bat. And then the description is also visible. So here's a little description of the photograph. As you can see, depending on the item, there's more or less information included. But you'll always see what digital collection an item came from in your search results like this. Scrolling back up to the top, you can see which collections you've searched over on the side here where it says collections. We've searched all the collections, and I know that because select all collections has a little check mark next to it. We'll come back to this and I'll show you how to manipulate this later on. Scrolling down, we have what we call facets. These are different options that you have for narrowing your search. So coverage really is just another word for the location that items took place at. So you can narrow it by location, subject, format. So for example, if you're looking for maps, you can look at just the maps in these search results. Creator, and then relation is the collection that it came out of. So I mentioned the Gentry Family Papers collection. You can see that here. If we wanted to see everything from the Gentry Family Papers collection, we could click here and view that. And we'll come back to this in just a moment. Now, so I'm interested in the Gentry family, not Gentry County, right? We got a lot of plat maps in our results, probably because of Gentry County. And these plat maps are mentioning Gentry County. Say I want to remove the plat map collection from our search results. I can do that by selecting Show All under the collections and scrolling to Plat Maps of Missouri. I'm going to deselect Plat Maps of Missouri. And then I'm going to click Update. You have to click Update. And now you can see those results are gone. Now say we are only interested in photographs. I'm going to show you how to use the facets to do that. I'm going to scroll down to Format, like I showed you before. And I'm just going to click Photographs right here. Now it has added that as a search term under the Format field to our search for Gentry. And so these are all photographs. As you can see, it still has some stuff about Gentry County because we only removed the plat maps. But it also has some things with the Gentry family in the results. Now I'm going to show you how to look at individual items in this collection. So say we're interested in this photograph of Mary Gentry from the Christian College records in our photograph collection. And click on it. And first thing I want to show you is if you want to view the image as a full screen and zoom into it, you can click this icon here to expand. You can zoom in. If you need to rotate it for some reason, some documents have handwriting on at different angles on the page. You can actually rotate the image. You can make it full screen. And if you click home, it kind of recenters the image. I'm going to exit out of that. I also want to show you how to print from here. The print and download options are a little counterintuitive. So if you want to print a single item, you probably want to download it first. The print option, it kind of formats it strangely if you just are looking at a single item like a photograph. So what you're going to do is go to the download option here. If you can download it a pretty large size, actually, we have those settings so that people can download a pretty high quality image. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can download, and then once you've downloaded it to your computer, you can go ahead and print. Now, say I wanted to do a search for the Gentry family, and I wanted to search in some specific collections, and I wanted to keep Gentry County out of my search entirely. I can do that in advanced search. So if I click advanced search, no matter where you are in the digital collections, if you click advanced search, every single collection will be selected. So you do need to go and, unless you want to search all collections, you're going to need to modify this no matter where you enter from. So again, I'm going to hit show all, and I'm going to deselect all the collections. And I'm going to want to search genealogy, photographs, and the Missouri Government and Politics collection, because I know some members of the Gentry family were pretty well known. Now from there, you're not done. You have to click save for it to adjust. Now down here, we can add our search terms. The first thing I want you to notice is you can search all fields, but you can also specify what field you want to search. So for example, format, if you wanted to search for photographs only, you could select format and type photographs. I am going to search all fields in this situation. And I'm going to search for Gentry again. If I wanted to search, for example, for Mary Gentry, I could type Mary Gentry, and I could make it an exact phrase search. So you can't, this is where you can do an exact phrase search, which is the same as if you're searching in Google, putting something in quotes, right? You can also do all of the words. That includes all of the words. So that's like a Boolean and search, if you're familiar with that. Any of the words is like an or search. None of the words is like saying not in a Boolean search. So in this case, I'm going to put Gentry as all of the words in all fields. And then I'm going to add a row. So this is how you build your search. You can add a couple of rows. So Gentry, and then I'm going to search all fields again, but I'm going to say none of the words, and I'm going to say county. So Gentry, but not county. And I do my search. So here are results. And as you can see, it looks like it's pretty much all people as opposed to Gentry County, maybe a few exceptions. From here, I want to show you how to look at a multi-page item. So this messages and proclamations of the governor. I'm going to go to the second page here, volume 2. So I'm looking in here, and I want you to notice something. This is a quirk of Content DM, the software. They're constantly working on it to improve it, but this is just one thing that hasn't been fixed yet. Notice I said Gentry and not the word county, but it repeated the search within this item, this multi-page item, and it said Gentry and the word county. And not only that, but it's also highlighting the word and. The fix for this is simply to delete those other words and repeat the search. And so now we've just searched for Gentry in here. So as you can see, it marks where your search term shows up on the page, and it also marks the page with a little red highlight. So it goes directly to the first page where Gentry shows up. This is page 7. These are all the page numbers on the side here. So this is kind of like your table of contents. If I scroll down quite a bit, there will be other pages highlighted. Here they go. 277 and 278. So I can click on them directly. And here we have something written by North Todd Gentry. If I scroll down, I'm going to show you what we call the metadata, the information about the item. Here's a transcript. In this case, it's not really necessary for a lot of folks because, we can just read it on the screen because it's typed. But if you've got handwritten materials, we have transcripts for almost all of our handwritten materials, thanks to our wonderful transcription volunteers. And so you might be referring down to this, and you can see the terms are highlighted here too. In this case, I want to hide the transcript because sometimes those can get pretty long. And below that, we have a description of the object, which means like the thing as a whole. It includes its title. The creator is actually us because we published this a long time ago. And then the item description is the page, just describes this page, which is pretty minimal in this case. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to search within a specific collection. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our homepage. Now, that's one thing. If you want to go back to the homepage from anywhere in the collections, you can either kind of follow this little trail here. So I could go back to the Missouri Government and Politics collection that this came from, or I can go home, or you can just click our icon, our logo up here in the top, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to our genealogy and family history collection and show you how to search within that. So here we are at the collections homepage. All of our collections have a homepage, kind of like this one. If you do a search in the search bar from a collections homepage, it will search just that collection. If you click browse, it will browse everything in that collection. And then we have these these are sort of pre-formed searches that you can click on based on topic. So in this case, I'm actually going to go ahead and look at the Ozarks genealogy search that we have here. And so that created a search. And right now, it's our Ozarks genealogy materials are pretty much all from the John Watts papers, which were digitized by our Rolla Research Center. This is a really cool collection. Watts was a circuit riding Baptist minister in the Northern Ozarks, and he kept all these notes on genealogical information on the families on his circuit for years and years. So we've transcribed these and digitized them, almost all of them. The very last volumes are being put online now. And for those of you who are a little bit interested in this collection, they contain a lot of marriage records, birth dates and death dates. And then some of the later volumes have more information about deaths and funerals as well. So this is a good opportunity to show you a couple of things, ways to manipulate your search results. So first of all, we have search results per page is 20 right now. I can change that to 50 if I want to. You see, we have 25 search results here. I want to look at them all at once. I don't want to have to click to the next page. So now we have 50 search results per page. They're all just showing up right here. I also want to sort, they're sorted by relevance right now. And that often is what you're going to want to do with your search terms. But in this case, I want to sort by title. So I'm going to change it to title. Oops, I'm going to do title ascending. And now all the volumes are in order. And that just makes it a little easier to look at. So we're going to take a look at this first volume, and I'm going to talk a little more about navigating within a multi-page object. Here it is. And again, it repeated the search. In this case, it's the John Watts papers. I'm going to just delete this because it's kind of distracting to have every page highlighted because that is the collection it's from. Now, this is an example of a multi-page collection that has chapter titles. The last one we looked at, it just had every page on the side listed out. This one actually has headings. And in this case, it's by family name because this is how the collection, how the volumes are organized. So right now we're just on the cover. If I click these little plus symbols, it'll open up the headings, and then the page numbers under that heading will appear. So I'm going to scroll down to the Huffman family, and I'm going to open it up. It looks like their section starts on page 87. I'm going to click on it, and that opens page 87. And this is an example of where a transcript really comes in handy. As you can see, some of the handwriting is pretty messy. It's been edited. But if you scroll down, we have a nice transcript of the whole page. And just as an example of what kinds of things you can find in this particular collection, it's not just the birth and death dates. It sometimes has cause of death. It has a little more detail, like here's an example of William Mitchell Jones was killed by falling into a ditch at a volcano. There's some other details, ages, when people died, that sort of thing. So now say I'm thinking maybe the Huffman family shows up elsewhere besides just their little section. We can do an internal search in just this volume, right? So I'm going to do a search for Huffman and see what else pops up, see if anything else shows up. And again, like I said, the pages are highlighted. And if you have these headings, the heading will automatically open for the page if it has hits for your search. So here in the index, they show up. That's not a surprise. Do they show up anywhere else? Of course, they show up in the Huffman family. Oh, it looks like someone also shows up in the Watson family. So I can look at that pretty easily, see that Huffman shows up. And you can see Florence Huffman, and we're not sure why. These are one of the mysteries of archives. Sometimes you don't know why people did things. But it looks like Florence Huffman was pasted in here. Maybe she was a relative by marriage or something. Etta Florence Huffman, it looks like. Okay, so now I'm going to show a little more about how we can kind of manipulate our search results. So I'm going to do a search for Huffman in the entire genealogy and family history collection. So genealogy and family history, obviously right now this collection has funeral homes, funeral home records, marriage records, some just one or two church records, the collection I just showed you, and then some cards from the Confederate home. So I'm going to look for Huffman here. And here are our results. So we've added, it's mostly the John Watts papers, but we've got some funeral home records as well. Here's an example where we can narrow it. Say we want to narrow it by location. We only want the Huffman family from Phelps County, say. Just going to click on that, and then that adds that to our search. We can see the Huffmans of Phelps County just show up in the John Watts papers at this point. And if I take a look at volume 19, you can see, oh, there's another Huffman family section in this volume. So it was worth it to do the search in the whole collection. Now say we want to, and I just hit the regular browser back button to go back to my search results. You can also, there's a button within the collection as well. Say I want to do this search and throughout all of our Content DM collections in all the digital collections. From the search results, I can click select all collections and update. And we still only have the John Watts papers coming up, but we're including Phelps County. What if I take that out? I can exit out. Now the Huffman family is showing up in 143 results. So that's a little more. This is an opportunity for me to show you our oral histories because these are a little different from some of our other collections in the way you navigate them. They have just one, the multi-page items are just kind of one big PDF image. So in order to look at the pages, you expand it out from the main screen. And it's taken a minute to load. I'm going to try a different one. All right, here we go. And it's just a PDF here. And you can see it did the search for Huffman within this PDF. And you can just browse through the entire thing. Scroll down just like you're looking at a PDF, you know, on any website. And this is the transcript of the oral history. I should mention our oral history collections, some have audio files with them with the actual oral history. Some are just the transcription. It depends on the rights that the donor has given us and the restrictions they put on the oral history. Some of them have restrictions on the audio. So that's why sometimes you'll get just the transcript. And just to show you the metadata in this has a little more than some of our collections. We have the name of the person who was interviewed, the name of the interviewer, the date, quite a few subject headings, the location, and actually a little synopsis about who the person was who was interviewed. So this is a situation where looking at this information down below the image can be pretty helpful. I want to really quickly, before I pass it over to Katie, I want to show you how to search by date. Only some of our collections have this capability. Unfortunately, it's just sort of how they were originally created. But it can be very useful in certain collections. So I'm going to show you the World War II collection and how to search by date in that. And I do want to mention our World War II collection is almost entirely letters written by servicemen and women during World War II, letters home. And there are literally thousands of them in there. So it's a really cool collection if anybody's interested in World War II. And a lot of people find their ancestors here too. We've had a lot of folks, you know, finding letters that they didn't know existed that grandpa wrote or whatever. So say we want to search for D-Day in here, and we only want letters written by soldiers on D-Day. So that's 1944, and it's June 6th. And you have to format it in a specific way. It says here, so it's year, month, day. It has to be formatted this way because it's a computer readable field. So I'm going to click search and see what came up. We got 4 results for D-Day. Here's one from James W. Watson. And actually, these little brackets around 1944 mean, with the question mark, mean we're not entirely sure this was written on D-Day. But we're going to take a look at it anyway, because I do want to show you also how to print and download multiple page items, because sometimes that can be confusing for folks. This is a situation where whether you want to print or download, either way, you're going to want to use the print function. And I'll show you how to do that. So you see here in the print function, you can select this item. That means the page you're on, or all. The download function only downloads the page you're on. So say we want to print pages 2 and 3, or we want to download pages 2 and 3. I'm going to click all, and hopefully it won't take forever. It's going to generate a PDF, and it does it on the fly. The software makes the PDF after you click it, which is why it can take a while. If anyone's ever tried to do this and it's taken a long time, it's actually creating the PDF. And sometimes if the images are large or something, it can take a minute. In fact, I'm actually going to go back and select a different item. All right, let's see if this one goes a little faster. Yeah, here we go. So here's an example. I have asked it to download all pages. And then from here, if you want to print, you can go ahead and print from your computer. You can download it to your computer. You can save it. If you only want to print certain pages, for example, sometimes people use our Missouri Historical Review and they only want to print a specific article, you can do that by going in and selecting in your print. You can select which pages you want to print. So you can just do a custom print. And if you want to download instead of printing, always remember you can go in your, instead of sending it to a printer, select Save to PDF. So you could save just a few pages to a PDF on your computer using the print function. So I hope that's clear for folks. And I do see some questions coming in the Q&A. We will get to your questions toward the end of the webinar after Katie talks a little bit about newspapers. And just so you know, we are recording the webinar. And it'll appear on our website after a few weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Katie at this point. And she's going to tell you a little bit about how to navigate our newspaper site. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right. And now take it away, Katie.
Hey, thanks, Heather. That was awesome. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to start with the home page. Okay. So yeah, again, thanks for everyone for joining us. I'm going to give some background about the digital newspaper project, and then we'll get into some demos in the actual site. So what can we learn from historic newspapers? They provide a snapshot in time for a specific community. We can find genealogy information in obituaries, society pages, notices of the settlement of estates, and even in old post office columns, publicizing the names of people who were delinquent in picking up their mail. So folks interested in building preservation can trace different businesses and uses of a site. For instance, the productions and touring groups who appeared on stage at a local theater. There might even be photos of a building documenting the structure before an addition. We can see the changing styles and approaches in advertising, or see the price of groceries at a specific time. We can get local and national political insights, not only for what was occurring or being debated, but also how people on the local level were affected and felt about topics like war, social movements, and new technologies. So this is just a glimpse of uses for these rich resources. It's also important to approach them with a critical lens rather than taking them at face value, even though modern journalists do strive for objectivity and balance. Ask yourself whose perspectives are present, are they reliable, and what points of view may be missing. If a paper has a political or religious affiliation, they won't be the best source for fully understanding any alternative views. Now for some background, in 2008, the Society received its first of 3 National Endowment for the Humanities grants to digitize historic newspapers and make the content word searchable and freely available on the internet. So with these grants, approximately 350,000 pages of Missouri newspapers were digitized and offered through the Library of Congress's website, Chronicling America. This site is linked on our digital newspaper page if you want to check it out. Additional digitization grants were awarded from the Missouri State Library between 2011 and 2021. During this period, our digital newspapers were hosted on several different sites based on the grant. So now, all of our historical digital newspapers can be found in one place. That's because in the last several years, the Society has transitioned away from grant funding to an agreement with newspapers.com, which allows our digital offerings to grow much faster. The papers we submit through this agreement are, generally speaking, behind a paywall for three years. However, the State Historical Society maintains a subscription to newspapers.com, which patrons can use at all 6 of our branches for full access to the site. By full access, I mean you get access to other states and countries, as well as Missouri titles that we've recently submitted. Alternatively, you can check with your local library on whether they have a newspapers.com subscription that has full access. So after this 3-year period, the titles our organization provides to newspapers.com become available in a free portal. This free database is what I will be demonstrating today, but note that it operates the same as the full access version of newspapers.com. It just has a more limited amount of papers available. I want to stress that you must enter this free database every time through our website. Otherwise, you will be prompted to purchase a subscription. So let's start on our homepage. You can type in digital newspapers in the search box, like so. And the first option will be the landing page for digital newspapers. You can also navigate using the tabs up top. You can hover over research, go to collections, and then go to newspapers, then click on digital newspapers, and then we're back at the site. So I like to just bookmark this site here, and that will save me some clicks. So once you're there, click on search digital newspapers. You can create a free account to save your searches and clippings and sign up for search alerts, but that's not required to use the site. I'm going to be an anonymous user today. And actually, I'm an anonymous user. In the middle, you'll find the basic search options. So this will search across all the papers on the free site. And the number of pages available are counted down here. So we have 9.3 million pages. If you're a recurring user, you might see this, you'll notice this growing. In the leftmost search box where it says keyword, you can type in a person's name, an event like the World Series, or a subject like UFOs. If you want to search for phrase, you can put it in quotation marks, and newspapers.com will show results of the words all found together. You can also add search terms with a plus sign between words, and it will search for all of those terms anytime that they appear on one page. So since we're almost to October, let's search for Halloween and see if we can get some inspiration for a costume. You'll see, so I'm going to type that into the keywords. Let's see what we get. So there are over 101,000 matches. So we'll talk about filtering that down. But let's go ahead and click on the first option. I'm going to click on the title, St. Joseph Gazette, or I can click on the thumbnail of the paper. And then that's actually going to take me to the digital newspaper. So each time my search terms appear, it's going to be highlighted. I'm just dragging around the page with my mouse I'm going to zoom out in this corner where there's a plus and minus sign so that I can see more of the page. And we see this awesome homemade ET costume. So let's see. So we can see the title, St. Joseph Gazette up top. We can see the date that it was published and then the page that it appears on. So let's see. So I'm going to show you the print and download option. I would generally ignore the clip and the share. I recommend just doing print and download. So that's going to let me either save the entire page or I can select a portion. I'm going to select a portion and I'm going to zoom out a bit more. And then I'm going to fit this box around the image. I can print it if I want to print it. I can save it as a JPEG and the citation information. So the title, the date, that's all going to automatically be part of the file name. I can also save it as a PDF. Let's do that. It's going to take a second because this is automatically generated. And then this is what it'll look like. So you see the title of the paper, the date that it was published. It tells us when we found it. And then it, shows the image, and then it tells you that it was from newspapers.com. So I'm gonna see. Okay. So now we're back to the page. I can advance to other pages. Maybe there's more stuff about Halloween, right? I can do that with the arrows toward the bottom, and it'll tell me what page I'm on. And then I can go back to my search results by using this back arrow. So this is a lot of matches for my keyword, so we can narrow it down. In the middle column, I can add dates. So let's say we just want to look at the 80s. And I can do a date range, or I can do a specific date so that it only searches, just for a specific date. I can also add a location. Let's see what was being published in St. Joseph. And it's going to recognize. So I'm going to click St. Joseph, and then it's going to search. Now we have a little over 1,000 matches. On the right, the location with matches, it shows me how these are dispersed throughout the decade. So I can see that there were a lot of coverage of Halloween in 1987. So I also want to talk about search terms. We all know that language and culture are always changing. So consider expanding the vocabulary that you're using when you're searching keywords in historic materials. If you're doing research on African Americans, for instance, you might try searching with more antiquated terms like colored, or using husband or father's names when searching for a woman. The text recognition software is also not perfect, so you may receive results that do not actually match the keywords that you've typed in. For example, C's and E's look a lot like O's to the software. So you can try, if you're not getting a lot of results, you can try spelling words with lookalike letters. I'll also note that the digital newspapers are scans from our microfilm collection. And the standards and the equipment for this has advanced a lot since the technology first debuted in the early 20th century. So you might find that keyword searching isn't getting you very many results. If that's the case, and you know kind of where something happened, like an ancestor's death, you might read through articles of papers at that time for the content you're looking for. So we're seeing a lot for the St. Joseph Gazette. That makes me wonder, are there other papers that are available digitally for St. Joseph? So to see what else is available, I'm going to go to this Browse tab here. And I'm going to navigate to the town I'm interested. So I'm going to click on Missouri, and I'm going to scroll down to St. Joseph. All of the towns are in alphabetical order. Scroll down a bit. And here's St. Joseph. Now I can see all these different papers are available. They were being published at different times. So I can click on it and it'll show me the years that are available digitally. So the Catholic Tribune, got a lot from the late 19th century up to 1924. This is a great way to go directly to an issue when you already have a citation for an article. And I'll point out that newspaper names and ownership are always changing. So newspapers.com tries to streamline this by putting related titles under one name. You may know the paper by one name, but not see it in this list. So try clicking on the titles available for a town, and you may find that the paper is under a similar name. So that's the case for, I'm going to go up to California. And let's say I'm looking for the Montauk County Democrat. So let's click on, where's California? Here it is. So I'm looking for Montauk County Democrat. I don't see it, but I see that there's a California Democrat. So I'm going to click on that. And let's look at the first page. It looks like it was being published as the Montauk County Democrat in 1870. But newspapers.com is trying to do us a favor and show us fewer paper titles, and it's under a California Democrat up here. So I'm going to go back. And then if I am just looking for a specific paper, I don't want to know everything that's available for a town. I'm just going to go to this Papers tab. And then over on the left, where it says narrow by newspaper title, I'm going to type in the title of the paper. So we'll do the Neo-Show Times. Oops. And there it is. So we can see that it was being published from 1870 through 1953. At least that's what's available on the digital newspapers. I'm going to click this, and that's going to take me to the paper's specific archive. So you can see clippings that other people have created on the site. You can also go to this calendar view and navigate to a specific day, month, and then go to the 7th. That'll take me directly to the April 7th issue of Neo-Show Times from 1887. And then if you scroll down under the calendar view, you can also see nearby papers in the map. So I'm going to zoom in, and okay, it looks like there were 7 papers being published out of McDonald County. And that's just a handy way to see other papers right in the area. So that's the basics. We're really excited to provide free access to this powerful database. Keep in mind that SHSMO does not administer this site, but we can try to troubleshoot with you if you're having difficulties. Reach out to us via email if you need further assistance. And you're also, if you're in the state, you're welcome to visit one of our 6 research centers, and we can work directly with you. So with that, let's answer some questions.
Terrific presentation. So much was packed in there. Just a reminder, there's a lot there to cover. We are recording it in a couple of weeks. I put it in both the chat function and some of the questions too, where you can find it online. It's under our SHSMO videos on demand on our website. So that's where you can see this and other programmings we do. I did want to just go ahead and maybe while we're on the line of newspapers, Katie, Stephen asked, is SHS collections considerably broader than what we find at newspapers.com?
Right. So as I mentioned, it's just part of what's available on newspapers.com. If you have your own subscription, or if you have access to newspapers.com through your local library, you'll have access to more than what's available on the free site. The free site there is just what we submit to newspapers.com. And again, sometimes it'll appear after 3 years. So you'll notice stuff appears in newspapers.com, the full access first, and then it will eventually be released onto the free site. But there's already so much available. So people are able to find quite a bit in the free content without having a subscription.
Another question was, if I already pay for newspapers.com publisher's edition, is there anything extra I will have access to by going through the SHSMO site?
No. So this is basically kind of a newspapers.com light and Missouri edition is what the free digital papers are. So you have basically access to everything with the publisher's extra subscription. And that's what we make available in our research centers.
Another question was, when you talk about newspapers.com, the person's not sure whether you can access it from home or only at SHSMO, and if you could clarify that.
So as long as you enter, if you're wanting to use the free newspapers.com access to Missouri newspapers, as long as you access the link through our website, you can access that from home. You don't need to be here and you don't need to have a newspapers.com subscription. So that link gives you free access to the papers that are available for free. Yeah. I hope that that's kind of clear because it is a little confusing.
Mark says he noticed that the St. Louis Globe Democrat doesn't seem to be part of the SHMO collection, but it is available when using newspapers.com. And are there plans to add missing papers?
So we can't digitize everything in our collection. Copyright has to do with it. Or we can only also digitize materials when we have the negatives of it. So we might have copies of the St. Louis Globe Democrat in our microfilm collections that people can use, but maybe we don't have the negatives because we didn't create the microfilm. So that's part of why, so maybe someone who did have the negatives who created this Globe Democrat, maybe they partnered with newspapers.com and that's why it's available there, but not on our free content.
And Katie, what are the differences between the paid newspapers.com and SHS version and the library version?
Okay. I think we've maybe covered that. So again, the free digital newspapers that we provide access to on our website, that's content that just SHSMO has submitted to newspapers.com. I'm not totally clear about the difference between the Publishers Extra and the Library Edition. It might be that Publishers Extra has additional years available, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, great. And getting to some of the other questions that have come through too. Richard said that he found 2 letters in Elias V. Wilson papers from a finding aid. How can he get access to copy the 2 letters of interest?
Oh, yeah. So if those letters, if they're not, I'm assuming they're not actually online, because obviously, as Katie alluded to, we only digitize a very, very small portion of our collections. That's just, all we can do. So if you're interested in obtaining copies from a collection that you've seen described on our website, you can email us, or if you go to the research drop-down menu from our homepage, there is a research requests and appointments button that you can click, and that will take you to a form that you can fill out, and you can send us any questions you have, any requests for copies. We do charge for research and copies, but a librarian or archivist will get back to you usually within 24 hours if you fill out that form and let you know what we can do for you. So probably with those letters, we would probably get back to you with a certain fee, a cost for copying them is either a PDF or we can provide paper copies as well.
So if you searched using multiple words, would it look like for that exact string, or would it look for any occurrences of those words, not necessarily together throughout the document?
It's a little bit of both. So if you do a simple search from the main page, it will give you search results by relevance, which means those 2 terms together on a page will be prioritized in your search results. But if you drill down, so like the last page of search results, if it's sorting by relevance, it will be either of those words. It'll change it to an or search. So it starts out including both, changes it to an or search. If you want to do a phrase, if you want to search just that phrase, I recommend doing the advanced search and selecting the exact phrase as your search option.
Now, if there are a few different spellings of a name, will it bring up all the spellings or only how you spell it? For example, shepherd could be spelled maybe a couple of different ways.
Only how you spell it. So unlike Google, which can kind of interpret things, it's a strict interpretation. So if you have a typo, it'll just have no results. So yeah, you do have to try. If you have a name with a lot of different spellings, you will have to try them all, unfortunately.
one of our participants said, ask a question about, is creation date the date it was made or when it was added to the site? What does that mean?
Creation date is the date it was made. Yes. Some of our items do have date digital in the metadata fields, and that is when it was added to the site.
Does oral histories have to be done by an organization, or may individuals submit them?
The oral histories are all from our organization. They are either, some of them are oral historians are actively collecting oral histories. So some of them are ones we have done. Some of them are from manuscript collections we own that include oral histories. We tend not to just accept oral histories, kind of from the public. If there's a larger collection, we might consider it. I guess it depends. Archivist's favorite answer to everything is it depends.
Right. Mentioned that her 94-year-old father-in-law grew up in Berkeley, Missouri, and served in Korea. So that's
that
why that might be a collection we would want.
That might be something we'd be interested in. Yes, definitely.
It'd be the best thing for them just to contact us, and we would hook them up with one of our oral historians.
Yeah. Just contact us if you think you have materials to donate, just family collections, family letters, that kind of thing, or an oral history that you think would be good. Go ahead and contact us. Absolutely.
Great. Ellen asked, do you have court records in the database? And if not, where can we find them?
Some. It's not comprehensive. The state archives would have a comprehensive collection of court records. We have just materials that were donated to us by individuals and organizations. And some of those individuals happen to be lawyers. So we do have legal records in that capacity, but like I said, it is not comprehensive at all. If you're looking for all, court records, go to the state archives.
And John asked, when viewing a multi-page object, is there any way to jump to the next hit rather than having to scroll down and hunt for the next hit?
For the hit, you do need to scroll down for that. If you want to go to the next page, you can navigate to that without clicking on the side. There's other ways to navigate to the next page, but to get to the next hit, you kind of have to scroll down.
One of the persons here asked, how would I submit old family photos and other documents that I've found to the State Historical Society? And is it okay to include those who are still living?
Yeah, great. You can contact us and someone will get back to you. Yeah, we absolutely, love to talk to people about what they might be able to donate. It's not always a guaranteed yes, but we always love to hear from you, and we love to hear what you have. So just go ahead and you can even submit that form and it'll get to the right person.
Using just the contact@shsmo.org, or is there another email address?
Oh, yeah, you can send something to contact@shsmo.org. That's probably the easiest. Yeah.
With the recent increased pace of adding titles to newspapers.com. Oh, no, we already asked that one. We can move on. Okay, good deal. It says, it appears I can't create an account to save my searches unless I have ancestry.com.
So as I mentioned, there's really no need to create an account. If you do want to create an account, I believe it will be separate from any ancestry.com or newspapers.com account that you might subscribe to. Really, the best way to use the free digital papers is when you're doing a search and you found something that you want, just go ahead and print and download and then save a copy. That way you have it right there and you don't need to come back to it. You might email me, or we can talk on the phone and see why it's prompting you to have an Ancestry account, but it's not necessary to use the site.
And also, how do I remove the highlight on an article?
Oh, so that's really only for your use when it's showing you where the words are appearing. When you save a copy, the highlights are not going to appear. So it's just for the digital interface.
Do copyright laws apply to the digital collections?
Yes. The newspapers, well, I'll let Katie speak to newspapers, but materials that we've put in the other digital collections, a lot of them are in the public domain, but some of them are under copyright, and we've put them online, with permission, for example. Most items will have copyright information in that metadata, in that information below the image. And it will let you know if it's under copyright or not. There are a lot of instances where it's a gray area, to be honest, but it's always kind of use at your own risk.
And Katie, someone also was wanting to know about what kind of limits there are about recent newspapers that we put online. What limits are out there?
So if we have put something up on the free digital site beyond 1964, that's because the publisher has given us permission to do so. So you can use it for your private use. If you're wanting to put that, if you're wanting to put, a screen grab of the paper in a book that you're publishing, you would probably want to reach out to the publisher because it's still their intellectual content.
And then let's see. Does the Historical Society have relationships with other historical societies, such as Butler County, Ohio, similar to interloan library loan for materials?
Yes. I'll let Katie address that. She's the librarian.
Sorry, my computer died. So we most of our materials do not check out. We're not a lending library. However, our microfilm collections, we can interlibrary loan those to anywhere that has a microfilm reader. So we can send those to historical societies and libraries if you want to borrow stuff that's not already digitized. Yeah.
Okay. And while we got you back here, Katie, Dell wants to know, is SHSMO still microfilming current newspapers?
We are, yes. So we're microfilming current newspapers as well as historic newspapers that we did not already have in the collection. So sometimes publishers have found in their archives, some of the earliest stuff, and we never got a copy. So we are microfilming both. Yeah, we do that in-house. There's a lot to do. So there's a decent queue. But yes, we create microfilm in-house.
And where do we find the index for the paper copies of newspapers SHSMO has in Columbia?
Sure. So by and large, that should all be in our catalog. There's also a document assembled for each county. I'm going to share my screen so you can see how to get there. So I'm going to go back to our homepage. And if I go to research, collections, and then newspapers. So the first option was digital newspapers. But if I scroll down, you can go to newspapers on microfilm. That will show you the inventory for each county of microfilm. And we're working on updating those to reflect what all is online in the free digital newspaper database.
While you have that up there too, Katie, can you show them the date range for the papers that have been digitized?
So what these will show you, it's going to show you, it's going to be alphabetical by town. So we see all the different Ashland papers. And then it shows me for the Boone County Journal, it was published from 1969 through current. So our first issue is February 12th, 1969. And then I scroll down, it's all going to be in chronological order. And it's going to tell me the real number here. Whoops. I just want to highlight that 554. And then we can see that the latest edition available on microfilm is through 2021. Or I'm sorry. Probably what's on microfilm is through 2018. The 2018 through 2021, we probably have the print issues in the basement. They still need to be put on film. Yeah.
Great. Alice asked if we have any newspapers from other states.
We have some, but by and large, our collection initiative is from Missouri. So.
And there's been a lot of questions about the microfilm. And Patsy, who works with you, of course, on the newspapers, she wanted to point out to our patrons that we have much more on microfilm, 72 million pages on film. So there's a lot to check out here.
Mhm.
Also, Kim asked if we can get a transcript of the session and include answers to questions. So like I said, all of this is being recorded and it will be available, including the Q&A we're doing will be part of the video that we will put on our on-demand page. As far as a transcript, that may be something you can do on your own with your Zoom program. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we have a way of doing transcripts or not. Maybe there's a way that you can. I'm not really certain on that. Do you know, Katie or Heather?
I think there may have been a way to enable captions. So when we see the recording, there might be captions available for that.
I did see on the screen it says a participant has enabled closed captioning. So obviously they're getting that. So I guess that's something the user would have to do. But we will have the video where people can go back and listen to it again and watch.
Yeah, and please reach out with questions, and we will, we can email or you can call us with questions. If the transcript's not available for you, we'll get your questions answered that way.
All right, maybe we'll go just a couple more minutes. Let me see here what else we have. Okay, we are using information retrieved from the digital collection, how best to cite the item. What copyright issues might we face using information in your collection that is not in the public domain, like pre-1926?
Right. So, so for citation information, the main thing is to include essentially as much information as you can get from the metadata for the item. So I would include the title of the item, the creator, the date, and then the manuscript collection that it came from is important. And then the fact that it came from, the State Historical Society of Missouri digital collections, even including the URL, is helpful. Just include as much information as you can. With copyright, if you can always ask us, if we know anything more. If you're not sure if it's under copyright, we can maybe help you with that. In the end, though, it is kind of on you. We don't grant, copyright use except for just a couple of different collections that are sort of special cases. But yeah, you can always contact us and ask if you have any questions about copyright.
And maybe it might not hurt just to put your contact information up if you don't mind sharing that, because people
like let me go ahead.
Maybe you could share that initial screen you had on your PowerPoint.
Yeah.
While you're doing
share my
that,
screen.
Is there a specific form of questions you can use to record oral history? I will mention, Veronica, that Sean Ross, who has for many years been working as our oral historian, has done some webinars on that, which we have under videos on demand. So you can actually find that information from a previous webinar that was produced. So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, Sean's a great person to talk to about oral histories. And here's our contact information. So yeah, I'll just keep sharing this slide.
Okay.
For folks.
And we'll get a few more questions in, since it looks like we still have about 160 joining us right now. If you're Heather and Katie, if you're still good with it. Stephen asked, if I donate to the newspaper project, can I direct my donation to a particular county or newspaper?
Oh, well, so we do kind of have we do collect requests to digitize newspapers. So you can reach out to us if you do want to donate. You can let us know that it's toward a certain paper, and we can let you know what we can do. Sometimes we might not, be able to digitize papers for a certain county or for a certain town. So each circumstance will be specific. Just reach out to us and we will let you know what we can do.
Do you have information about early African-American schools and teachers?
Yes, we do. In fact, here, let me just I'm gonna share back to the digital collections website. Just a little refresher for everyone. The African American Experience in Missouri digital collection. I believe it has some materials. The main thing in here is, and this is actually something we contributed to a larger project. So we added it to our collection, but we also contributed it to a larger nationwide digitization project on African American education specifically. But we have these. So we have some materials from the University of Missouri, the Lucille Bluford and Lloyd Gaines cases. That's obviously higher education. But then we have also these journals of education published in Missouri in the mid-20th century. And we also probably I think in the photographs, we have some school photos, that kind of thing. So there are things to be found. We have the Meteor Yearbook from Frederick Douglass High School in Columbia. And I know we definitely have some things in our photo collection also from this high school.
Great. One participant asked, if I give letters to SHSMO, who owns the letters?
We do. So it is a donation. It's a sort of a donation for the future, right? Once the letters are here, we make sure that they are being stored and preserved in the best possible manner. We describe them and make the description available online. And then anybody, including the donors, can come and view them, and in perpetuity. So it's.
Are you accepting Vietnam era letters for the archives yet?
Yes, please. Absolutely. We actually have an initiative right now where we are collecting materials from Vietnam and Korea, because that is a weak spot in our collections. People think of history as a long time ago, but we collect materials up to the present day, because eventually this will be history, right?
Heather, does the finding aids also indicate if the materials are digitized or not?
Yes, usually. Now they usually so we have this kind of administrative information on the first page of all the finding aids. And so this one does not, but usually right around here, between the donor information and the processor information, it'll have a term that says alternate formats available, and it will have a link to anything from that collection that has been digitized. And the other place where you can go is if you find just a short description of something on our website, it'll often have a link also to the digitized materials from there.
I have newspaper clippings that are about my relatives. Is there a way to search for the photo description if there wasn't an article about them?
So if you have a print clipping, you can always check and see if we have it available digitally. You might know exactly when it was published, and so you can navigate directly to that date and maybe page number. You can try searching, and that might quickly take you there, or you can navigate directly to the page. And then you could have a digital copy that way. And there might be, other information beyond what was clipped. Maybe there's a larger article that was written, or there might have been photos. So you can try keyword searching for their names, or if, they're at a school, maybe the school name, just play around with it and see what comes up. But you'll want to make sure that for the area you're interested in, that there are actually digital newspapers. If not, you might check with our microfilm collections and see what's available that way.
And is there an index with articles to all the Missouri historical reviews?
So there is, you can access the historical reviews in there's a few different ways to access them. If you go to just our website, publications, we have the Missouri Historical Review, and it'll list out the current index and then some of the more recent issues. And then the rest of them, you're gonna be looking. If you go to View Online Archive, you can also just go from the Content DM website to these. It'll take you to our Missouri Historical Review collection, and you can just browse if you're looking for a specific issue, and it automatically is sorted by title. So it'll start, with the oldest one and go to the newest. And if you know the year, for example, you can narrow it by year if you again, if you know kind of which year you're looking for.
I think the last issue in a volume will have an index.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing a keyword search up top and you limit it to Missouri Historical Review, it will show you contents in the index as well as actual articles.
Yeah, that's right. We have so volume 9. So yeah, I think issue 4 here should have, and we do use the table of contents here. Issue 4 will have an index for that year.
And just finally, we're just kind of wrap this up, but there's 2 questions we can kind of combine them. One person wants to know, how does your organization differ from mohistory.org, which is Missouri History Museum in St. Louis? And also the question is, what are the differences between the collections of SHSMO and the state archives? So maybe we can kind of finish it up talking about what are the resources are here in Missouri and the difference between them.
Yeah, so we're completely different from the Missouri Historical Society. So that is a private society and museum in St. Louis, and their collections are mostly focused on St. Louis and that region. So they have their own digital collections. So just kind of keep in mind, if you do Google State Historical Society Missouri, I believe we come up first. I think we also come up first when you Google Missouri Historical Society. So, if you're looking for us and you contact them, they should direct you to us.
Like Katie said, they're a different organization. If you're looking for Missouri history, we're both great places to check. We both do contribute to the Digital Public Library of America. So our materials, if you can just Google Digital Public Library of America or DPLA. It's a great place to search for digital collections nationwide. And there are a number of Missouri institutions that contribute to that. So it's a place to search across different collections of different institutions. And then the Missouri State Archives has government records. So we have some government records, but not really. That's not our focus. The Missouri State Archives, so they have the archives of the state government, as well as a lot of county records. They have a really robust collecting initiative for county records on microfilm. So that's where you're going to go for a lot of those vital records, birth and death records, that kind of thing.
Right. Any final thoughts from either of you as we wrap this up?
Thanks for bearing with us. The webinar kind of drained my battery quicker than I expected.
Well, I do kind of want to just real quick, I'm going to share my screen if I can make this work here. So this is our main page, and I just wanted to show you all, many of you want to watch this again and where it's going to appear. So if you go to where it says Learn and Engage and click all the way down to where it says Videos on Demand, okay, that is where it's going to appear. It will probably be the most recent one we add, so it will be right here at the top. So again, and if you want to go through and find out other programs that we've had online, feel free to go through. You can search this by region, by topic. So it's all there. We've produced many of them, not just over the course of the pandemic, but even before then, we've had a lot of programs online. So we encourage you to check it out there. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope you all have a great day. And again, let us know if you have any questions. Contact at shsmo.org is our general one. And of course, you also have Heather and Katie's email as well. We appreciate you being here. So long.
Okay, thanks, everyone.